So what do you think about what do you think about what do you think about Peter Obi then? What do you think about Peter Obi and the Obidient movement? What do you think? What are your thoughts? Yeah.
So I actually think the Obidient movement is actually more important than Peter Obi himself.
Okay.
So I think Peter Obi was just the vessel. And for anyone who is perceptive enough and has been following Nigerian politics or Nigerian public space over the past 4 years, they'll have realized that what became the Obidient movement first made itself known, I think, in 2020. What we now know as NSARS. That was actually I think it started before that, but that was when I personally first observed this thing, like this sort of decentralized leaderless movement that is moving in one definite direction. And there's no set of leaders that you can identify that this person is controlling, nothing like that. I think that was the first time we ever saw that in Nigeria's public space. And I think what that signifies to me is that there is a very large Nigerian youth population, which is not only just frustrated and tired, but which is also politically educated and active now. Now, the reason why I've described the support, even if they do what they want to do, they drag out this petition to the 29th so that this person is sworn in, and then they try and scatter everything. As I've mentioned earlier in another forum, that is a stay of execution and it's nothing more. Because what this election has proved is that I think when Peter Obi declared on the Labour Party platform, it was like 9 months to the election, wasn't it?
Yeah, around that, yeah.
So in the space of 9 months, you can take a candidate on the platform of a no-hoper party, a party that is going nowhere and has no hope of ever achieving anything at that level, right? In the space of 9 months, you can take a candidate on the platform of that party, and even according to the official figures, obviously we know Peter Obi won the election, but I'm even using the official INEC figures, that you can go from 0 to 6 million votes in 9 months. That's what this election has showed, that even with all the rigging, even with all the cutting of votes, with all the electoral fraud, with all the, Mama Shukudi should not come out and vote, with all the, if they born any Igbo, may I see them come vote for here, with all the, GRV's middle name is Chinedu, all that bullshit, with all the, you look Igbo, even though your name is Morayo, so you can't vote, all that, with all of that, somebody still got 6 million votes. In an election with all of that. So basically the people who, even if they succeed they do what they think is succeeding this time, it's just a stay of execution. Because those young people, yes, okay, 2 of us might be in the UK right now. How many Nigerians will ever get a UK visa? They are not going anywhere. They are still there.
Of course, of course.
Except you want to literally kill all of them. Next time around, they are still going to be there.
Of course,
You understand? Even if they will come out and shout, say, I'm so disappointed, I'm never going to vote again, blah, 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 it's a lie. Next time we come, they will see they have an opportunity. More of them, including the ones who are old enough to vote now, or the ones who registered and couldn't get their PVCs this time around, more of them will join next time. Then what are you going to do? You'll be 4 years older. Those who would have died by then. The truth is that this thing is like, it's like a dam was built when a river was this wide. Now, the mouth of the river is still this wide, but the rest of the river has now widened by a factor of 3 or 4, and it's still the same dam that is there. So the water pressure is building. So yes, you can still close the dam, and you'll still be fine for now, but just give it time. So Peter Obi was the vessel, right? And what is called the Obidient Movement for now, as homage to Peter Obi. But if Peter Obi is no longer in the picture, that movement is not going anywhere. It's still going to be there. It might change its name, might change its form, but already, I mean, there is every possibility. For example, who is to say that movement couldn't decide that it's going to coalesce into an actual political formation of its own? Who is to say that won't happen?
That's possible.
And if and when it happens, who is going to stop it? Because the issue I keep on raising, and one of the main reasons why I think the people who are in charge of Nigeria are not intelligent people at all, is that when you look at the population breakdown of Nigeria, what is by far the country's largest population?
The youths.
It's people under the age of 35.
Young people.
As in, it's not even close. The single largest demographic of Nigerians are under the age of 15. Now, do you know how young Nigeria is?
Yeah.
So, for how long do you think you can keep this up?
No, you can't. It's
You
obvious,
really can't. So
it's obvious.
the water pressure is building. That dam is going to burst. If I was one of those people in charge of Nigeria, the advice that I would have given my contemporaries is just gingerly open this dam. Let these young people have their way.
Because
it will be worse if you let them break it.
100%.
You
I
know?
agree. 100%.
I've said this several times. Nigeria is the world's most underpoliced state relative to its size and population. Even if you send total, if you add military, police, every NSCDC, everybody holding a gun with a uniform in Nigeria, add them together, maybe you get 500,000 men, maybe, if you're lucky. Nigeria has 180 plus million people. How many people do you want to kill? The day you drive that demographic into open revolt,
it's the end.
that day you will find out that even the people that you think you are going to use to shoot them, those people will turn those weapons around and shoot you instead.
Of course.
That's the reality.
Yeah, of course.
So, which is why when I see people like Tinubu playing these games now, you lost an election so scandalously, and then you still go and use Emilio Con and use money and force yourself in. Okay, good for you. People like me, so I'm not the one that they should be worried about, right? All I do is I write. I'm a journalist. I'm a writer. You know, I'm a public intellectual. I use words. You understand? In my life, I've never fired a gun. I don't know how to cock a pistol. I've never fired a gun before. It's not me you should be afraid of, right? I'm so harmless that when my life was threatened, I ran away. You understand? I left the country. I ran away. I went into exile. I obtained asylum protection. Got a different passport. I ran away. You understand? I'm not the dangerous one here. The dangerous people that these people should be worried about are the people that you don't see or hear from.
Millions.
They don't have 200,000 followers on Twitter. They don't talk plenty.
They're hungry, they're poor.
Do you understand?
Millions of them,
But the day that thing will snap, and we have seen previews of this.
Yeah, of course. NSAS.
Even before NSAS, if you recall, in 2019, there was a riot in Lagos. People have forgotten this.
Yeah.
When it was supposed to be a reprisal attack against South African businesses in Lagos. And it quickly turned into this free-for-all.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden, because they started from targeting ShopRite and MTN and DSTV. By the end of that day, it had turned into anybody who has a car that looks like it was made after 2010. Anybody that looks like they are not suffering became a target. You understand? Because the people at those people at the bottom rung of the ladder, to them, $1 billion and 1 million naira are the same thing.
Of course.
Because they are both equally as out of reach. You understand? So to them, that is the Emilio Con, you have a helicopter, all of that. Man.
Yeah, understand, and I agree with everything you said. But for me, one of the issues I think we have to balance, because we don't want violence in this disaster, but we don't want that. We want to balance out the fact that we will have a great Nigeria, but we don't want people to be killed. Because I think that burden or that sacrifice may be just too much for us. The question now becomes, how many people do you want to risk? How many people do you want to kill? 1 million? 2 million?
Does it matter what we want? Because what will happen regardless of what we feel about it.
But that's what we're talking about, and that's why we need to, because I think we need to balance this out. This is why, yes, I understand the grievances in Nigeria. Of course, we all do. And I always tell my friends in Nigeria, wherever you are in the world, being Nigerian affects you. Whether you're in the UK like we are now, whether you're in the North Pole, in Canada, anywhere you are, just the fact you're a Nigerian, you're already at a disadvantaged position already. So it matters that a great Nigeria comes, because if Nigeria becomes better, then we don't need to be here. We can go back home and establish ourselves, going to business, going to politics, anything we want to do. But I think the balance we need to find is that, and we saw this in the Obidient Movement, and I think this is one of the mistakes that they made, is that they weren't willing to accept other opinions or other views, other viewpoints. And this is one of the critiques I had.
Views being what exactly?
No, the point, so for example, you weren't allowed to criticize P2B. You just weren't allowed to. I did, and I know how they came for me. People like Sean Kuti did. People like Orino Mokri did. They came for them and they were very vicious. And I always tell them, to get political power is a different thing. Power acquisition is number one. Power consolidation is number two. Then you now execute power. That's number three. But for you to acquire power is a totally different ballgame altogether. You're looking at a country, like you rightly said, is very diverse. We have so many tribes. So you cannot just get power by saying you must support P2B or you're unpatriotic. You must support P2B or you don't love. You can't do that.
Question.
Okay.
Assuming the results of a free and fair election had been declared.
That was even before. All this happened before the election. That's my point.
I'm saying
all this happened.
Despite the fact that all of this happened, what still happened on election day?
Tinubu won.
No, he didn't.
No, but legally, I mean,
INEC declared him the winner. Did he win the votes on the ballot?
The fact is that Tinubu say won, and which is my point. My point is that
whether or not people went after yourself or went after Shehu,
doesn't matter. Myself, I don't even matter. My point is
went
that
after what would that materially have changed?
No. What the point is that you're trying to convince me, right? Which is the point of politics is conversion. You're trying to convince
and
David.
It worked. They convinced enough people.
Not by saying you must, not by saying if you don't, we'll
but
call
did
you
it
names.
work or not? Did they convince enough people or not?
Let me tell you what I did.
Because
right?
if you are saying they didn't convince enough people,
it didn't.
Then what you are saying is that Tinubu legitimately won that election.
I think those are two different arguments.
No, it's the same.
It is because if you did all these things you did as obedience, right? You called people out, you castigated them, you cursed them, you cursed their families, their kids.
Absolutely.
In some cases, you did that. You went to those extremes. And yet, who is the president-elect? Tinubu. So all these things you did didn't work. You made a mockery of yourself. You lost friends. You lost family members.
So essentially,
you sacrificed all these things, and yet.
So essentially, the argument you have just made now is that, well, Tinubu was going to be the president anyway, so you might as well have not. That's not. Might as well have not tried.
No, that's not my argument. My argument is that you can do both at the same time. You can be civil. You can accommodate. You can tell to your friends, I understand you don't support P2B. I understand you're a Baptist, so you're articulated. But can't you see these reasons with P2B?
Okay, so question. The people who died at Lekki Toll Plaza, for example, if you could bring them back from the dead right now, maybe they are still experiencing their death pangs, the pains they were feeling when they were dying, they were bleeding out, right? And you could put one of them in the studio right now, and then lecture him about this. Tell him, you know what? Instead of cursing this person or something, try and convince me.
Yeah. What I'm gonna say is this, right? There are better ways to do this, because when you castigate someone, right? You're not better off than Tinubu.
Everybody always has opinions about what's the better way.
No, but it's obvious that it's obvious that the
obedience we are
just.
No, which way
and that's what I don't know, but my whole point is that
clearly the obedience way worked.
No, it didn't,
because they won the damn election.
It didn't. The whole point is it didn't, and that's my point. It didn't work.
How exactly didn't it work? If they won the ballot, but that was the point of it, wasn't it?
Tinubu is gonna become a president. It didn't work.
That had nothing to do with whether they won the ballot or not.
You know why? Okay, why is it that after? Okay, look at how they attacked Shoyinka. They attacked,
or rather, how Shoyinka attacked them by calling them fascists.
When you act like this, what are you then? When you act, I don't mean all obedience. So let me be clear. I don't mean all obedience. If
you say Mama Shukudu shouldn't come out and vote,
that's wrong. Of course, that's
what
wrong.
Is that?
That's being tribalistic. That's wrong.
No. Does that not fit the description of the term fascist?
Of course, it is.
So Shoyinka did not see that as fascist.
No, but
it's people who are shouting on Twitter. Those are the ones who are fascists.
No, but the issue is the point.
And you don't see the obvious hypocrisy there.
David. The point is this, right? You're the new guy on the block, right? You're the new person.
Being the new person. No. So this is a very important point.
Let me say this, right? Let me say this. You're the new person. You're P2B. You're this sense. You're this guy that wants to change Nigeria. The point is not to be a saint. Sorry. Okay, you're not the saint.
At all.
No, you're not the saint. You want to change Nigeria. You're the new guy. Everyone is coming for you, right? You cannot adopt the same tactics that the elites use. You can't do that. You're the different guy. You should be different.
My dear.
You don't need to castigate or curse. And
my dear, this thing you've said is exactly the sort of thing I would have expected that Tinubu would say. You know why he would say it? You know why he would say it? You know why he would say it? He would say it precisely because it's the same reason why when we're growing up, the people who were giving us this instruction, who were actually bullies, they will tell you that the best way to deal with a bully is to keep quiet and walk away.
No, fight back by
Just
all
ignore
means.
them.
No, you can fight back. I fight back
And
as well.
if you ignore them, they will get tired and
No,
they'll leave you
David,
alone.
I fight back.
Which is absolute
Fight
nonsense,
back, but
because
don't-
why would they stop?
No, fight back by all means, but don't fight back by cursing people's kids. Don't do that. That's wrong. You can't get me to support Obi
somebody
by
shot
cursing my...
somebody
You
shot
can't do
children.
that.
Somebody shot children dead at the toll gate. But you draw the line at the other people causing that person's
No,
kids.
that's not the point. You're taking two. You're bringing two different.
They
my
are not,
points.
that's
No,
the point. They are not different things.
No, the
they are
point
not.
I'm making is
because
obedience.
The reason this conversation frustrates me is that people often don't seem to be able to see the bigger picture.
We all see the bigger picture. We all want a great Nigeria. That's the bigger picture.
The bigger picture is that these the people who you think are just people who have polite disagreements and they don't deserve this vitriol that they are getting.
Yeah.
The role that they are playing on behalf, whether they realize that they are playing that role or not, whether they are doing so intentionally or not, right? Whether people like Wole Soyinka are supporting Tinubu or not. But the fact is that by playing that role, right, they are helping the incumbents. That's the point. So if you are the challenger who is challenging an incumbent, I'm sorry to say, whether you like to hear this or not, the burden of morality is not with you. It does not rest with you. It lies with the incumbent.
But that's difficult then. But the issue then becomes...
That's electoral democracy.
No, but the issue then is because, like I said, conversion. Okay, look at David.
That's electoral democracy.
We're disagreeing now, right? We're being respectful. We're being civil. Obedience,
If you shot me, you will not be civil anymore.
Of course, I get your point.
If you put me through the things Buhari and APC put us through for 8 months, I wouldn't be sitting here talking to you politely.
I understand
now.
your point, but to acquire power...
I don't carry bottle you for head now.
Again, to acquire power, you have to adopt a different... You can't do that to acquire power. You can't call out people's kids.
It's funny how you say this thing with so much confidence.
No, but it's obvious.
To acquire power,
but it's obvious. But it's obvious. Who is our president-elect today? Tinubu is.
What does that have to do with who won
No, because
the
you're trying to
election
acquire
or not?
something. You're trying to get something. I'm trying to get to become Nigeria's president, right? The game is this. What can I do to get to that position?
Win an election.
Yes,
which is exactly what they did.
But the issue is that he's not the president-elect.
So them being polite or not being polite has nothing to do with Mahmoud Yakubu coming out at 4 a.m.
But it didn't matter.
To fraudulently announce something that didn't exist.
No, but the point is, it doesn't matter. He didn't win. Obi did not win. So all these things you guys
Obi
did.
won the election.
You lost your friends, right?
INEC did not announce him. What more could Obedience have done?
David, you lost your friends. You lost family members, right? You've cost people.
I'm sure they don't regret it. Even the people I personally I don't regret it.
No, I
absolutely do not.
So people that cost Omokri's daughter, for example, they shouldn't regret it. They shouldn't regret calling us an innocent 2-year-old or 3, however old she is.
Well, and the things Omokri did, what then?
What did he do? What did Omokri do?
He took part in some of those tribal online lynchings as well. Several times he did.
No, but
he absolutely did.
Okay.
First of all. Okay. And the ethnic group you come from was one of his favorite targets, by the way.
I agree. And
you know?
Yeah, I agree. And I see that argument. But my point is, you don't need to curse people's kids. You don't need to call people names. You don't need to bully them, which is what Obedience was doing.
Well, we're going to have to agree to disagree.
They did that to me, so I know firsthand. And for me, I'm like, you know what you do, right? For me, I'm like, you know what? I told my friends, when it comes to this Obi issue, I will leave it alone.
Which probably
I was trying to call out, what I was trying to do was I was trying to point them to some issues which later happened. I told them, look at this you can do. Don't do this, but because you're not bullying me, I'm like, you know what? Who even wants to be cousins? Who even wants to be called names? Who even wants? I'm like, you know what? Let me just stand back and do my thing.
Well, clearly,
and what happened?
Clearly, you don't want to be involved in Nigerian politics.
No, I want to, but I'm like, I want to, but at some point, I'm like, no, don't get me. I'm tough. But I'm like, I can't be dealing with you guys, and I'm just.
If your reaction to all of that is Tinubu won, good for you.
No, not good for me. No,
that's pretty much what you just said.
No, not good for me. My point is this, right? My point is this.
And by the way, Tinubu did not win that election. So like you keep on repeating that thing, and it's not going to fly by me. But Tinubu did not win that election.
You're so funny.
Mahmoud Yakubu came out at 4 a.m. and made an announcement. That's good for him, and that's good for Tinubu.
What you and I think don't matter. What matters is that president-elect is Bola Ahmed Tinubu.
The data.
That's what matters.
The data does not support that idea.
But those ones are. We all know how Nigeria works. We all know. What matters is that come May 29th,
I'm saying the point is
Tinubu
that
will become president.
The entire point of the campaign was not to get Mahmoud Yakubu to say this or that. The entire point of the campaign was to win on the scoreboard, which is what we did.
on the
That's
score.
exactly what we did.
David, right? 10 years from now, when we all die, God willing, good old age, and we're all gone, who will our kids remember us who won the election 2-3 months ago? Who would they remember us who won? Tinubu.
They will remember who won the election as Peter Obi. They remember who was declared winner as Bola Tinubu.
Sir, the people that write history are the victors. The victors that will write the history of Nigerian politics.
Well, people like me are still going to be here. We're also going to write too. There is no longer any monopoly of writing.
The whole point is that when you type in who was Nigeria's president on Google from 2023 to whatever, what will come out is Tinubu?
Good for him.
Exactly, but that's the point you're making.
For all of the 5 minutes that he'll be president, if he's president. So good for him.
Even if he's not there, Shetima will. But the whole point I'm making is obedience. You guys want to win. So perhaps, and this is what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to say this right. Hopefully, this election will teach them a lesson. Not even them, us as well, because I really love what PTOB is doing. To make us understand that there are different vehicles to get to what we want, which is a great Nigeria. We can do it by being civil. We can disagree respectfully. Disagree. We don't need to call people names and cause them. And we don't need to disagree. Because when you do that, you're not converting me.
Good. It's not everybody that needs to be converted.
But you need us. You need people to vote for your guy.
Clearly, we didn't.
But it doesn't matter.
Clearly, we didn't.
Don't win. It doesn't matter
because we won it without you.
No, but it doesn't. But he doesn't. Oh, David, you guys are so funny, man.